I'm Chief Meteorologist Mark Weinberg. This is Rick DeLuca. We know why you guys are here, Rick. We talked about this a lot. I mean, everybody's really curious about, next Thursday, we've got that 40% chance of
It's a
rain showers in there. I just think everybody's focused
it's
on
a
that
big
right
deal.
now.
That's the buzz of the town.
I mean, everybody's like, is it going to rain next Thursday? What kind of, do I need to replace my windshield wipers? I mean, you got to think ahead towards that kind of stuff. Literally, nobody's saying that. Yeah, we're going to be talking about snow tonight. It's go time.
Yep.
This is getting started. Before we jump into all this, I can see you. So if you guys are joining us on my Facebook page, number one, I appreciate you. If you're joining on Rick's page, we appreciate you. If you're coming in from the WDRB News page, thank you. What we're going to ask you guys to do is I have 1,600 people on my Facebook page watching. So I'm going to ask you, maybe you've got 100 followers. Of your 100 followers, now if you click the share button, that means that 160,000 people are now going to be alerted that we're going live. And you're, well, that's kind of a lot of people. Yeah, I would agree. But remember, they may be interested. We're going to be talking about Louisville. We're going to be talking about Lexington. We're going to be talking about Cincy, what's going on in Indy. We're going to be talking about Evansville, all these areas that are going to be affected by this storm. So when you share the video, they then have an opportunity to jump in. And Rick, when you click share, it's not just the video right now that they might want to watch live. Let's say they're doing something else and they're going to get home in an hour.
Yeah.
They may still want to watch the video. It lives on indefinitely, so they can come later and watch.
You got chores, eating a late dinner. You can go back in. And Mark, you always say emojis, thumbs up, likes.
Yeah.
Let's see the snowflake emojis coming on today. I mean,
Fair.
might as well. So the snow show has begun. We were just looking outside, and the snow is coming down here in downtown Louisville. We can confirm that. And this is just the beginning of what will be hours and hours of snow, which means tonight if you're traveling, tomorrow morning if you're traveling, this is a lot different than last time we had this storm because we had snow, but the pavement temperatures were still a little warm.
Way different.
This is not going to be the case this time, which means travel impacts are going to happen and they're going to go downhill pretty quickly here. So we're keeping an eye on a whole bunch of things, but obviously the thing you want to know, it's how much snow am I going to get at my house? And we're going to be taking your questions live here.
And so the way that these videos unravel, if you're new here, number one, thank you. Welcome to Studio C. This is the newest edition of WDRB, and this is where we do all of our streaming. You'll see us out here. Rick and I are going to be obviously on camera, on mics. We have Sean in the back in our control room. That's going to be helping control things from the control board. From the audio scenario, and we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate in that we have a company and a news director and a station that supports our desire to do a lot of these streams, and you guys are supporting it as well. 2,700 people in here right now. So the way that this is going to go is we're going to go through we're going to take a look at our camera network we have around the area. Rick, you'll probably see and hear clicking. Rick's going to be moving those cameras around so you guys can see.
Yeah, I'm not just shopping on the internet or anything. I'm not shopping.
Okay, I can verify he isn't
I'm
shopping.
working.
and we're going to show you guys what it looks like. We're going to talk about scenario, snow overnight. We're going to talk about, is there a fail mode? Is there a way that this doesn't produce or underproduces? And then we're going to show you our snow forecast. And a little teaser as we're starting this video, we are going to introduce a higher snow stripe. So we mentioned it on TV earlier that a higher range and somebody could exceed the range. We feel confident enough now that we can put that on the map so that you guys will see it. So we're going to introduce the highest snow range, which does include snow accumulations up to 6 inches. Again, before we start this, thumbs across the screen. If you guys enjoy the Facebook Lives, hearts, I can see. I'm looking, flood my screen with those. And please share the video with your friends and family. And by the way, also thank you to those of you that are joining us from YouTube and those that are joining us on X. And I will mention one last thing. When we get to the Q&A at the end, don't feel bad asking twice, 3 times, 5 times. Those questions, Rick, fly across the screen so fast. If we miss yours, we're not ignoring.
Right. So just ask it again, and hopefully we can get to it. There's sometimes you just can't keep up with the amount of questions, and with snow being the hot topic tonight, I mean, everyone just wants to know what's going to happen.
Let's answer it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive in.
So we're going to start off by looking at what we've got going on around our area. And what you're going to notice here is, and I just do want to mention to Sean in there, Sean, just an FYI, when we go to the weather picks button, it's not doing anything at all. So I don't know if that's something that it can fix or not. So there we go. Sean's showing us all of our cameras around our area. And you can see in Louisville, we've got ongoing snow. In Seymour, you can see the roads are holding up pretty well, with really nothing falling. New Albany has that snow falling, and Bardstown, Rick, you got a little better view on that. Looks like it's already starting to whiten up a little bit.
It's whitening up, certainly on the rooftops and also right around the courthouse. Those roads are getting a little slick, and this is just the beginning of this.
And so one of these things that we're going to discuss here, and this is one of the things I want to start on as we begin this. Number one, we've got a winter storm warning that goes from Shelby County, Henry County, Trimble County, Carroll County, and Oldham County in Kentucky. Now we cross the river into Indiana, and then you have Jefferson County, Scott County, Clark County, Floyd County, Orange, and Washington County. We kind of heard a big fuss about this today. Rick, if you're to draw a line and look from Floyd County to Shelby County, Louisville's notably absent. And I said this earlier. If you're in Utica, Indiana, and you're looking outside at how much snow when this is all said and done, and you're in Prospect, Kentucky, that is an East End Bridge drive, which is, you go over that bridge, what do you say, 30 seconds, 60 seconds?
Yeah, 60 seconds.
Is there going to be a difference in snow between Utica, Indiana, which is in the winter storm warning, and Prospect, Kentucky, which is in the winter weather advisory?
Nope.
So does it even really matter to focus on whether you're under high-end winter weather advisory,
right, or low-end
winter storm warning? I mean, it's the same thing.
It's I know in meteorology and science, we like definitions and we like to stick to them, but they are razor sharp. That's how close this really is going to be. So in Mark's point, it's a valid one. The difference between the two is going to be very, very little, if any, and you're probably not going to notice if you're driving around tomorrow. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that we're seeing accumulating snow, and this is going to be a widespread chunk of our area getting these accumulations. And the problem is that the timing with this lasting longer into your Friday morning drive, it does not give crews sufficient time to get out there to clean this up. And like last time, a lot of people got to school, got to work with delays. I'm not sure this is going to work this time around.
And so, look, I just want to get your attention for a moment. If you're under winter weather advisory or winter storm warning, it doesn't matter. You're going to have impacts from this. And I will say this much. The Weather Service was in a little bit of a challenge on this one in particular. The reason they had a little bit of a challenge on this one in particular is because southern Jefferson County is probably going to see less than northern. What happens if one part of the county hits winter storm warning and the other doesn't? And it's by far your most highly populated. It's a challenge that the Weather Service has to deal with in this one. So a winter weather advisory on either side of that. Lawrence, Jackson, Jennings County are under the advisory. And then we go into Crawford, Harrison in Indiana. Louisville's under a winter weather advisory in Meade, Harrison, LaRue, Nelson, Bullitt, Jefferson, Spencer, and Washington County. You guys, everybody I just mentioned, you are under that advisory out there. And you could see why as we continue to move this along. What we have ongoing here is snow now that has started, including the metro. And obviously from there, the interest is high. What does this mean? Well, Rick, the reason we felt confident in introducing a higher total is because of what you see now entering into Louisville. This is what we call banding. And walking you through kind of a little scenario, Rick, when we make a forecast, and you can speak to this, we put out the numbers. We never want to promise you more than what you're going to get.
Sure.
And in that kind of becomes our floor. If you get higher, we feel good. If you get lower, we feel bad. So when you put the highest stripe in there and you put it in too early, you run the risk that maybe that area is going to underperform. And somebody might be like, well, who cares?
Right.
Just adjust it north or south a couple counties. But if you live in that county and you've been promised a higher total and now you come out of that, that could bother you.
I mean, especially if you're going to sit there and wiggle it back and forth, throughout the entire forecast. That's the last thing we want to do. So that's why we kind of tailor these forecasts and then work our way to identify the area that we have the highest confidence, where the highest snow totals will end up being. So rather than throwing a stripe on the map prematurely and saying, okay, this area could see 3 to 6, we'd rather wait, keep the range a little wider, and then be able to focus in on that area where we can guarantee, like you said, that bottom number, that ceiling and the floor. Like you want to have that range, and I think a lot of people tend to just read the top of the range.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You can't do it like that. Just it's not going to work. But like you said, we want to give you the minimum. So at least that way, if you step outside tomorrow morning and we said 3 to 6 inches of snow, you're guaranteed to have at least 3 on the ground.
And Rick just let it out of the basket. Obviously, we are going to introduce a 3 to 6 inch stripe, and we do think the 6 inch, some are going to verify close to that. So let's take a look at what we have ongoing right now. Radar showing we've got snow from Bedford. It's pretty light right now, but it is starting to increase near Seymour. Starting, it should be getting going in the next. I'm going to give it 15 to 20 minutes, but it is snowing good right now in Paoli and southeast. English, Indiana, you've got steady snow ongoing. That goes through Corydon, where we've got that snow ongoing. And that heavier stripe, you can see squeezes southwest Jefferson County, including areas like PRP and Shively, south into Brooks, Shepherdsville. Rick, ongoing snow right now as we move towards Bardstown and Springfield and continuing southward, my friend.
That is a lot of snow coming down. Bardstown right now, if you're traveling along in south to western Kentucky, Bluegrass, Cumberland Parkway, this is not the kind of weather conditions that you want to be driving. Listen, if you don't enjoy driving in snow, if you despise it, if it scares you, just do yourself a favor. Don't go out at this point. It's basically to a situation now where we've already had the snow coming down, the roads are going downhill, and we have that snow stripe which continues to plow on in. And this thing extends about 300 to 400 miles off to our north and to our west, which tells you that this is going to be a duration snow. It's not going to stop by midnight. It's going to last a lot longer.
And there's some signals that we're seeing on radar. We waited and we wanted to see these. You can see right now this banding feature. So these banding features are a big deal. The reason these matter so much is when we get banding features like this, it guarantees a heavier axis of snow. And when you start to see our snow total map, you're going to understand why we increase the snow total in parts of our area. And it is very clearly because that axis that you can see right there is real. And the location we now have pinned in and know exactly where it's going to be. You can see the snow extends all the way back into Iowa. Somebody asked me, are we going to be snowing all night long? You guys said it starts at around 7:30, and this is going to last through the morning commuter, maybe slightly after, maybe not at this intensity, but varying intensity.
Very intense. It'll come up, it'll come down. It may just flurry for a short period of time, but you're looking at least light to at times moderate snow.
Yeah.
And it will be steady for a chunk of the night, which, like you said, it's not going to be snowing at a certain rate the entire night, but it's going to be back and forth, and it's going to be enough that we will be breaking out the shovels tomorrow and some sleds. If you're an adult, if you're a kid, whether you love or hate snow, it's just one of those scenarios.
Does Hank like snow?
Loves snow. I mean,
Does
no.
he eat it?
He doesn't. He just goes outside and he looks at me. He's like, "Really, really?" And
You
then,
know, I'm curious about you, man. So when I was a kid, you and I grew up in a similar area. A lot of snow. I'm going to ask you if you remember this one thing. So like after a big snow, do you remember walking outside, if especially if it was in the evening or night, that dead silence because it insulates the sound?
I look forward to that to this day.
That's what I like.
Because I feel like when I step out there, whatever it is mentally, I relive some of those moments, and I don't know what it is, but that deafening silence just brings me back to my childhood.
Deafening.
Yeah, it really is
deafening. So
I'm with you on that one.
So we are going to get snow. People have asked me, Mark, is there a fail safe? What is that even, or a fail mode? So in my science, there's something we refer to as a fail mode. What is a fail mode? A fail mode is a scenario where you expect X to happen, but if this happens, it could cancel it all out. In my professional opinion, there is no fail mode. This is going to be a done deal where we are going to see accumulating snow with significant impacts in our area. That is the view outside in Louisville right now. A couple things to note, and I saw this a lot today. The brine trucks were out in force today.
Yeah.
So they may be able to maybe shave on the roads a little bit of that onset.
Right. Buy them a little time.
And it's time. It is time because they're going to get behind, in particular when the bands start to pick up. And the grass has no chance, and your driveway has no chance because unlike a week ago, Rick, the pavement temperatures near freezing. A week ago, we saw 4.8 inches of snow, and virtually none of it stuck, except during that peak period.
The peak when it came down the heaviest, because at some point, intensity can overcome warmer pavement temperatures, but that's not the case this time around. I've been keeping an eye on pavement temperatures around the metro. They're running around 33 now. Okay. And once that snow continues to fall, I mean, it's going to drop below freezing, and pretty much in less than an hour, we're not going to be seeing much melting going on, especially at back roads, secondary, untreated roads. Those are the ones that will be worst, like it always is.
And we already see now, this is a great example of what Rick just mentioned. Look at the main roads there in E-Town. They're doing pretty well. And then you go onto that parking lot, and it's already covering the parking lot. So while cars are out driving tonight, it's going to help. It is going to help.
I could actually get in. I'll zoom around a little bit so you can get an idea of, where you are. Because if you live in E-Town, you're like, okay, cool. This is
cool stuff.
This is a live shot. If you're in E-Town, You don't even have to look outside. You can just check out right here. So it looks like
We love our camera network. And you can see that car in there, Rick.
boost. Oh, there's someone's not having too fun in the parking lot there.
Oh, see, that's an SUV, or that may be a Jeep. He may
That's a
be
Jeep. Let's
looking to have
see.
some fun.
Well, we
Sir,
can.
We're not watching you.
Yeah, I feel kind
He's
of
leaving.
like
It looks
he's
like
leaving.
he's leaving.
We're not creeping.
Okay, but we do have ruts already in the road in E-Town there. You can see on the turn lane
Yep.
there. And again, Rick is, you can hear the clicking. He's not doing any shopping yet.
I leave that up to
when
my
we get
wife.
into
She does plenty
Q&A.
of that.
She doesn't need that anymore. She just uses ChatGPT
I know.
and it tells her what to get.
Oh, my life. Okay, so here's a reference point. There's the Wendy's right there. You don't need to get a Frosty in your fries. We got Frosties coming out of the sky. But there's the Wendy's on Dixie Highway in E-Town. Well, I'm totally skipping over the fact that he's calling out my wife and her shopping habit.
I didn't say anything. I was just making a note of something.
It's funny because it's true.
It's
all right.
funny because it's true.
Yes. Well, look. I mean, people are still they're cruising down Dixie
I know
Highway.
they are.
They seem a little fearless.
So here's another thing to note here, Rick, is the dew point now has lifted a little in E-Town. What that has done is dropped the temperature down below freezing.
Mm-hmm.
So everything we were kind of expecting on this one is occurring. And yeah, again, in the current, in the now, the roads are probably going to hold up a little bit better. Very obvious snow falling here. You can see out of the Corydon area. You could see the road looking just wet on our camera in Corydon.
That's just outside the Harrison County Public Library. And what I'll do is I'll just zoom out so you can get a wider perspective of that. Just give you a second there.
And just so you guys know, you can access these cameras on our website if you just want to see in your town what's going on. You go to WDRB.com. When you click on weather, you'll see a drop down. And it says the WDRB camera network.
Yeah.
That would allow you then to watch the cameras around your areas. The wider shot on Corydon shows, Rick, I'm going to say this. I haven't seen a lot of snow in the course of my life, so sometimes I'm just kind of thinking, like, as a meteorologist, the problems it can cause. But with all the Christmas lights out there, yeah, I get it. It's not going to be happening on Christmas Day. The likelihood of a white Christmas doesn't look good right now. It's still weeks out, but look, you're going to get a chance to see the Christmas decorations with that reflection off the snow and that winter scenery. And it's probably not going to last beyond next week, but it's still pretty.
No, it's pretty. And if you want to do it before it gets crazy cold, I mean, hey, if you would do family photos, like Christmas photos,
there you go,
in front of the house, and you want to have that
just
scenic
don't do it
snow,
on Sunday.
Just don't do it on Sunday. Otherwise, you're not.
You may
gonna
not
be
come
happy.
back.
I mean, my plan. I was like, I'm gonna hibernate Sunday, and then I was like, oh wait, I gotta come to work, so. That won't be happening. That won't
I forgot.
Yeah, but I was like, oh man, I don't have to go out. I'm not staying. I'm staying in this house in the heat.
Well, you can come in here. You can turn the heat up in the WDRB streaming studio and see, and you can roll out a video and just warm yourself up.
That's the way to do it.
Corydon right now, the current temperature's not reading on that site yet. We just have a look now in the Seymour area. Rick, can you just give me a little bit of a zoom up on Seymour? I just want to see there if we can see any snow on the lights. The road obviously doing well. We can see the grass doing well.
That's Walnut Street on the left there.
Okay, Walnut on the left. And we're going to try to look towards the lights to see if we can view any snow falling yet out of the Seymour area. And again, obviously what we're trying to do here is a live view of what's going on. So in your hometown or your area, you know what's going on. Really, we just want to be able to give you the view without you having to go out there on the roads or stick your foot out the door because it's cold. So it looks like minimalistic right now out of the Seymour area, and temperatures continue to plummet here. Won't spend a massive amount of time because I assume you're here to find out snow totals. Looking around our area, we are running in the low 30s, and you can see where the snow onset has occurred. It's tugged the temperatures down. We expected this exact thing to happen. Why? Because the dew points were low enough to pull the temperature down, and this is going to mean for like Louisville and north of 64, this is an all snow scenario. It is worth noting that there's much warmer to the southwest. In our southern counties, that's going to try to creep in. As that happens, they may change you into a rain-snow mix and cut down on totals. But, Rick, I think this one's a big one. When we start to look at this, displacement of the polar vortex, this was something that was never invented. I've seen on various news, I'm not going to call anybody out, but say there's going to be a polar vortex. And Rick knows, like, to me, so that's like saying the sun is going to be in the sky tomorrow, or that's like saying planets exist out there. It's like Well, of course, there's going to be a polar vortex. There's literally one every single day.
There's always a polar vortex.
It's literally every single day. So if you say there's going to be a polar vortex tomorrow, you're literally stating the obvious. You have become now Captain Obvious.
They just like the to kind of hang on that term, a polar vortex, because it scares people.
So let's then talk about what this really is. It's called a displacement. Since the polar vortex is always there, if it moves towards our part of the planet, it brings the cold. The polar vortex is, in a sense, the keeper of the coldest air in our hemisphere. So if it skews towards, let's say, Russia, Siberia goes crazy cold. If it skews towards our part of the planet, Canada, northern U.S., and our area get crazy cold. So I wanted to explain what that means. But Rick, there's no question the displacement now is ongoing. Look at Yellowknife. And look at in southern Canada now; those wind chills are dipping into the minus 30 below zero.
They're bleeding over the U.S.-Canadian border, and that's what's moving our way. And that's also what could create another snow chance. Something will also.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and the pattern has been so active. There's an atmospheric river which is connected all the way down to Hawaii, which is just crushing the West Coast with storm after storm after storm. It's been an active pattern. It's still going to be an active pattern. And like you mentioned, because of this active storm pattern, that's actually allowed that chunk of the polar vortex to displace and get pulled down, which is why we're going to see some real deal cold. I am not even ready for this level of cold. I know we've had colder, but it's still the first normally. One. It's the first. Yeah, exactly. It's
it doesn't come this early.
January, February.
Since I've been here, in the 21 years, I'm just trying to think, the earliest real displacement of the polar vortex I can come across just off the top of my head is going to be December 23rd of 2004. So we got that epic snow and it brought in obscene cold, but that's around Christmas.
Right.
And this, you're still talking about 10 to 15 days earlier than that. And
I still have leaves I haven't cleaned up. That's
really,
I dragged out, had a dozen bags last night to the curb because they were covered in snow. So I was like, here's my chance. I better do it before they get covered again. It's been a really, winter came in, it's coming in strong.
And so what's happened is that southern branch of the jet has been throwing the hook out, pulling. And since our storm track has been so persistent, pulling, eventually it wins the battle and the polar vortex gets displaced. So this is where we're going. This is what's happening. Let's talk about future radar here, Rick. In the now, we've obviously got snow ongoing. And the thing I really note about this, and remember, the time is on the top right part of your screen. Let me give you this a little bit bigger. What you're going to notice here, Rick, is a persistent band that extends from our northwest counties to near around Louisville, southern Indiana, and then into our southeast counties. That's midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m., and it's in varying intensities here, Rick, but it continues to show up over our northwest counties, northern counties, into our eastern counties. That's why that area we feel some confidence on, and we threw the dart.
Right, because we're snowing longer. It's very simple.
And a little bit more intense, and you saw the band. You saw it when we looked at radar. So what does this mean for the morning drive? I'm going to tell you quite simply, it means problems. You don't get snow ongoing during an overnight hours into the morning and it still be snowing and not have problems. Now, I know that we're going to get this question, Rick, because it is a common question that we always get. Am I going to school tomorrow? We forecast the weather. We can't tell you what whoever is making that decision. I can tell you that some of these guys consult with me, and if they do consult, all I tell them is the same thing I'll tell you. I can't make the decision for you, but I can tell you what the weather's going to do. So under this circumstance, what normally happens, we get a lot of closings. This one is going to produce mass closings in our area. Can I tell you, your county, it would be speculation on my part. But you can see, Rick, this is ongoing early, and then that low goes by, which then brings up this interesting point. We're going to quiet down tomorrow afternoon. So the evening drive is no problem. But, Rick, this one is interesting on Saturday. That is not a little front. That's the polar vortex diving southward and pushing a monster front into our area. And we know something about Arctic air moving in this area.
It's like clockwork. Every single time that we get a push of Arctic air, no matter what, it creates at least some level of snow. And it's a different kind of snow that we're going to see tonight. Tonight's that wet, the heavier snow, not as real slushy as it was last time, about a week ago, but we are looking at your typical snow that has big, fat, wet flakes. It makes good snowballs, snowmen. The Saturday snow, because it's so cold, is going to be that fine, granular, powdery type stuff, which can quickly accumulate, and that's where we come into
Mhm.
snowfall ratios, Mark. We have more like a 10-to-1 to a 12-to-1
I think we're going to be
for the
in
snow
when it's all
tonight.
done tonight. 12.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that one looks closer to an 18-to-1, which means it doesn't require as much liquid to create more snow.
And so let me give you an example here. A tenth of an inch. Tonight, what a tenth of an inch would produce is 1.2 inches of snow. On Saturday night, that would produce almost 1.8 to 2 inches. So it's because it's so much more fluffy. And you can see, you know, if you're asking, that one's probably going to have accumulations again. I don't want to get beyond us right now, but if you're asking, can it get into advisory range? I think we both agree that yes.
Yeah.
And then this is something that is what Rick talked about. He didn't want to go out on Sunday. And we're going to have to blame this on Matthew Wine. He went ahead and took the day off, so Rick DeLuca's got to come in. But
he deserves it.
But yeah, he does deserve it. He has been working really hard. And those guys, all the team, I mean, you could say the same thing. I said it last night, but we have people that work and don't complain, and it is nice to work with that kind of a crew. But you can see these wind chills are 7, 10, 15 below zero. And this is the warm part of the day on Sunday. Well, warm part of the day on Sunday. Here's an interesting one. I look back at the stats, by the way. Record high, low, high temperature, record cold, high temperature on the Sunday's date is -15 set in 1917.
Or 15, right? 15
Is it
above.
15?
15 above.
Yeah, 15 above.
15,
What did I say, minus?
Yeah.
Sorry. 15 above set in 1917. So the data doesn't get us to 15. We can break a record that's over 100 years old. And I'm going to say this much. With the urban heat island that we've built in Louisville, breaking record lows or cold highs are almost impossible.
That's a good point.
Because if you had this exact setup 100 years ago, Louisville, by stats, would be probably 5 to 8 degrees colder. So you're not talking about if we tied a record. We were talking about if the conditions were what they were in 1917, we trashed the record.
That's actually that's a very good point. I enjoy
hard.
that. It's going to be close. That snowpack can do that. It can have a huge impact on how cold we get. And like I kind of joked before, have you seen the Christmas Story with Ralphie? He's like, I can't put my arms down. That's going to be me walking into work on Sunday.
Let's say it one more time.
I can't put my arms down.
It's a really good voice.
I went to a high pitch there.
You sounded just
a couple
like him.
octaves up.
All right, so let's talk about snow amounts here. We're going to look at the European computer model. What I'm going to tell you about this is that the ratios are probably a little low here, but I think that this at least is going to be helping us paint the picture. European computer model is showing less snow in the southern part of our area. It comes in nearly 2 inches in E-Town and Campbellsville. I'm going to come back to you because you're in one of the areas that we think there's a little more play. Louisville, it shows 3. It shows about 3 in Madison. It shows about 3 in Seymour and about 3 in Frankfort. Now, you're going to notice that there's blues in there. Those blues are 4+. So that higher amount goes from Frankfort, Shelbyville, north side of Louisville, towards around Salem, and then ultimately you can see from the graphic here on the Euro, this then goes towards around the Bedford, Indiana area. So this is one computer model, one of the tools we have in the toolbox. Rick, the NAM computer model was horrible earlier on in the day, but it has come around, and what I think is interesting is where it shows that heavier stripe.
It's doing a good job, actually. It's picking up on the heavier stripe. And once again, if you're in southern Indiana and you're in northern Kentucky, this is more impactful for you as opposed to people down across southern Kentucky. Just to be completely clear, we're not serving up snow equally across the board. We never do. So just to be very, very clear, the impacts in terms of travel, that's going to be more of an issue here in Louisville, north and east and west. But if you travel south, or if, let's say you have travel plans going down to Nashville tomorrow, the impacts are going to be far less for you.
So once you get past around Munfordville, there would be zero impact. But you can see the theme here. It's very similar in that higher area near Seymour, near French Lick, Paoli, going through around Clarksville, and then coming out through LaGrange and going into around the Frankfort area. Second, it shows under 2 inches of snow in E-Town and Campbellsville. Let's continue to row through the toolbox here. This is Advanced Track. Advanced Track's our in-house computer model. And Rick, you kind of are then looking and saying,
confidence.
Yeah. They're showing very similar things. I mean, you can see here, it shows about an inch, inch and a half in areas like E-Town for you in the Campbellsville area. You may not get anything in Munfordville, or you may get a little bit of snow that then washes away. But you can see that stripe near Paoli, near Seymour, near Madison, to just on the northern side of Louisville is also showing up in this piece of data. And we're going to end it with, I think it'd be fair to say this is probably our benchmark model in this time frame.
Yeah, for sure.
In this scenario. We call this the high resolution rapid refresh, or on a meteorologist term, it's the HRRR. And Rick, again, we get that concept going from around E-Town and Campbellsville less, and we get that concept that Louisville North into around Seymour is going to be in this higher stripe. Now, we just looked at 4 tools in our toolbox, and every tool in the toolbox shows the same thing.
They do. And that gives us more security in putting a forecast out there, not only for the areas that get the most snow, but also when it comes to how much. And this is just showing you how much snow, but it also comes down to that snowfall ratio we talked about. And these models can sometimes not take this into account. We have what's called Kuchera, and that really takes into account some of the different ratios that you would have throughout a storm. And some of the higher totals are still in that one zone, looking at some of that high-res data, which is just north and east of Louisville. And that's why we've kind of made that adjustment, which you've been leading to.
Drum roll.
Let's see it. That's a good one.
All right, let's go ahead and roll out this snow map here. So we're going to show you guys what we decided with our snow map, and I'm going to go ahead because I assume you want to see this and not us here. So let me take this full so that you can look. If you have any friends out there that are curious about the snow, share right now to say jump in. They're showing the snow map. Come in here. You can pick out your town. Now's the time to share.
This is what you want to see.
So they can jump in. So let's start to explain what we've got here. And you can see conceptually, I think it makes a lot of sense. We're talking about for Litchfield, Munfordville, Campbellsville under 1. The reason is we have less snow falling, less precipitation, and some rain contamination. We're going to go up to 2 inches, including areas like Hardinsburg, Elizabethtown, through Campbellsville and Springfield. This is the area where the snow probably shuts down a little bit quicker, but I'm going to tell you something. You may get closer to the higher end the further north you go, and that may come up and then slow down. But, you know, like, let me give you an example. Bardstown is probably going to end up in the 2 to 4, and that's where I want to move next. Bardstown, Kentucky, Lawrenceburg. I've got you in the 2 to 4. I'm including the central south side of Louisville in 2 to 4. I'm going to keep you in the 2 to 4 in Corydon. I'm going to keep you in the 2 to 4 on the southern side of Orange County, Indiana, near Paoli. Then I'm going to jump you into the 3 to 6, including areas like Bedford, Indiana, Seymour, Indiana. I'm going to include you in Henryville, Salem. I'm going to include you in the northern part of Clark County, which would be Henryville. I'm going to include you in Madison. I'm going to include you in Shelbyville and Simpsonville, in Waddy, Peytona. I'm going to include you in the 3 to 6 in Eminence, Newcastle, Jericho, Bedford, Kentucky, Carrollton. I'm going to put you right on the edge of that 3 to 6, and I'm going to put you in LaGrange in that 3 to 6. Now, Rick, from here, the obvious question is, could we bend this into Louisville? So, in transparency, the southern side of Louisville in the 2 to 4, the northern side in the 3 to 6. Do I think that the northern side of Louisville could end up on the higher side of that range? I think we both would say that's probably not likely. But what we're saying here is the northeast part of the county, you know, some 3, 4, 5s may happen.
Certainly.
And I think we're going to see some 5s out of this.
And that's kind of what we've been talking about, is the difference between a winter storm warning, winter weather advisory. We're talking about high-end winter weather advisory and then low-end winter storm warning. And if you want to throw all those out the window, this is the map you want, because you can say, okay, well, I live in this color and I'm expecting this much snow. It's really, this is the one-stop shop. You want to know how much snow? Check this out. I mean, this really gives a really good idea of who will be getting what. And if you live in that 3 to 6, that's where we're expecting some of those higher snowfall totals. And snowfall is quickly taking over all of our area marks. So there's a shot of our tower cams, of radar. This is just a nice little, call it a weather package of everything you want to see. Yeah, this one's cool.
So again, you've got your snow that's obviously overtaken Louisville. We've got that on the top right part of your screen. And you can see when we're going to answer questions, I'm going to leave this up because that way you can view constantly what's going on with our cameras. And you can see us as we're talking to you, and you'll be able to see the snow map as well. So from here, what I would say is if you guys enjoyed the Facebook Live, we're not done yet. We're going into Q&A. I've got my phone right here. I want to see a bunch of thumbs up and hearts flying across my screen.
Or snowflakes.
Well, the snowflakes that have to type it. Can you emoji a snowflake?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Come on, you're better at this than I am.
You can. Is it? I'm trying.
You just type in. Yeah, see, there's all sorts of. There's
not. Where's the snow one?
You just type it in there.
Are you making things up, dude?
No, you can do it.
But
guys, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
If you can do this in the stream. Oh, we have a guest coming in here. Rick, I'm gonna sub you out for a second.
Don't go far.
And we're gonna bring Mr. Corsi in.
talking?
No, wait
No,
one
what
second,
we're gonna
wait
do
one
here is
second.
let me bring us up here full
You
Gil,
hang
and then
out-
we're gonna
hang
bring
out
you
right
in.
there.
So Gil, if you can come in. Actually, let me tell you what. I'm gonna make this easier on everybody. There's the snow map. Gil, come on in here. Our Gil Corsi from the newsroom. We asked him that if he was gonna have any information on what was going on out there right now, that he could join us and we could talk a little bit about it. Gil Corsi, he's also on all of our social sites. So if you don't follow Gil, he's Gil Corsi on Facebook. He's on Twitter, which is X now. He's on Instagram as well. And Gil, you're our guest here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having
in
me.
our video. So this is a rarity, Mr. Corsi. Normally, you're the one that's asking the questions.
I
Do you
know,
feel
right?
Hold on, I'm gonna.
I don't know how to do it on this
Do
side,
you
Mark.
feel, does it feel uncomfortable, Gil? Do you notice that light is right on?
I'm not in the hot seat just yet. I'm not in the hot seat just yet.
Gil, I'm gonna take control back here from you for a moment here as I. So, how are things going outside in the newsroom right now, Gil?
You're enjoying this, right?
Tell us what we know about it. I'm gonna take Gil out of the spotlight. Gil's the anchor that I work with at 4, at 5, at 6, and at 10. Gil and I have worked together a really long time.
15 years.
And I mentioned to Gil when we were talking a little bit earlier that if you had any information on what's going out there, are we having any problems, you could jump in on our video here. Gil, we've got 2,036 people on our video
I
right
didn't
now.
know that like it was going to be so official. I would have put my tie on. I just what I think that people want to know about right now are where are the messy spots on the roads and also school closings. And so I stopped by the assignment desk and I was like, do we have any accidents that we're tracking right now? And good thing is no. We're kind of early in this weather and snow
Okay.
event, and so I'm not seeing major accidents
Okay.
right now. I did moments before I came in here look at our ticker. Well, that's the thing that scrolls on the
Yep.
bottom of the screen with school closings.
Mhm.
There were 30 that
30
had
already?
have been put in.
And we kind of expect that to grow here for obvious reasons here. I think that a lot of these schools are probably just waiting to see, is this really going to happen?
Right.
And then once they know that it's going to happen, they're going to start to make some of their decisions. So 30 closings, just out of curiosity, Indiana, Kentucky, do you remember?
Yeah, so majority of that, when I say closings, I mean a lot of people are doing NTI or
Okay.
online learning days
Yeah, the
tomorrow.
world's changed,
Places
right?
like Greater Clark has already announced a online learning day for tomorrow. New Albany, Floyd County Schools, Silver Creek, Clarksville Community School Corporation, all learning online tomorrow. But it was a majority of Southern Indiana counties that
Okay.
responded first. Not to say that we haven't seen anything in Kentucky as well.
Okay.
Hardin County is going to be learning online tomorrow. Fort Knox schools have already announced a 2-hour delay.
Okay, so both sides.
Yeah,
And
we're
the-
seeing this on both sides of the river.
And I think when we start to view this, when it's all said and done, we'll probably see less impacts for areas like Litchfield or Munfordville or Columbia. But I mean, you know, obviously everybody's wondering what this means for Louisville. Louisville, as it stands right now, status undecided. or sim-
JCPS, the decision is still pending.
Yeah.
As soon as they tell us, of course, we're going to put it out. We're going to push it out.
Okay, and that's because of the snow that will be accumulating. Mr. Gil Corsi, we appreciate you.
Pleasure.
This is the first time I've ever been able to put Mr. Gil Corsi on the spot. I just saw him blush, and I saw him feeling a little uncomfortable. I think you can really tell my interview skills here have grown over the last few years. I'm asking the tough questions. I really made this segment a little bit different. You could kind of see how I just had kind of gone into my element there for a moment, and I was funneling the difficult question. Literally, none of that actually happened. I don't know how to ask the difficult but I do know how to bring Rick DeLuca back in here. Rick, let's talk about WDRB News at 10. So because we have two meteorologists here during the 10 o'clock, and this is, you know, if you ever wonder why we double staff in the evening, tornadoes, severe weather, snow. And a lot of people are going to be curious about what's going on out there tonight. Rick, I'm going to be in studio at 10, but you are going to be putting on your, hybrid boot dress shoes. What are those things?
I don't know what they are. They were what I wore when I left, and then you called me on the way in. You're like, "You got your snow stuff," and I was like,
No.
"No."
But you do have a tool.
I do have a tool, a little infrared
Oh,
thermometer.
don't shine that in anybody's light
I'm
because
not.
I
I'm
don't want
trying-
LASIK.
we're not-
I
we're
don't
not-
want LASIK.
You don't want
during this
LASIK.
video.
Free LASIK right here from me. Sign up today.
So you're going to be out.
So I'll be using this to look at some temperatures, not only at the surface but different temperatures, a little higher, like your car temperature,
Yeah.
and you can kind of see the difference between metal, pavement, grass, vegetation, anything like that. So the colder it is, the quicker things will accumulate. And we've said this 1,000 times, but this is not like the last snow we had.
It's not.
It is completely different. And that really boils down to the fact that pavement temperatures are so much colder. So please, I know you may see, okay, well, I'm getting a little bit less this time as opposed to last time. The impacts and how the roads hold up will not be the same. In fact, the roads are going to deteriorate so much faster. And this, I'm not trying to bash any of the, NDOT, KYTC, or all the crews out there working. I know they are putting hours and effort in, but you just can't keep up at some point in time when you have these intense bands. And Mark, one of those heavier bands now, those brighter bands, it's moving into Louisville. It's going to start coming down heavily in Louisville here within the next 15 minutes or so.
Again, I think it's worth saying one more time. I don't see any fail mode at all humanly possible for Louisville. And on top of that, we're going to be looking at the late data, and really for Metro, one of the things we're going to have to decide is, do we want to nudge that 3 to 6 further south?
Right.
As I noted, what we do and how we do is we throw darts as allowed. We don't want to give you a higher total than you could see and then back you out of it. Here's an example of what we don't want to do. We don't want you going and talking to your child. We don't want you telling your child, hey, we're going to get enough snow tomorrow that we're going to be able to make a snowman. We're going to be able to go sledding. You're going to be super excited. And then your child wakes up in the morning and there's nothing on the ground. And now you're left to say, well, why? That your child's disappointed, you're mad that your child's disappointed, and you're going to come back and probably not be happy with us. And we get that. I mean, that's kind of why we just don't want to put out numbers that are too high until we know. And then as we get closer, we throw our darts. So Rick, we're now into the time where we're going to do some Q&A here. You have access to be able to view some of these questions. And what we want to do here is, if you have any questions about what's going on, whether you're on my Facebook or Rick's or WDRB News or YouTube. We've got a number of people here on our YouTube channel, and if you don't follow us on YouTube, please head over there and do a follow on YouTube, because everybody's in a lot of different places at a lot of different times. You would be able to then jump in on the video if you're on YouTube as well. So let's start, Rick. I'm going to give you the first one.
Yep.
I'm going to actually answer this one. Brian is saying, so it's a 50-50 chance of snow. Brian, it's a 100% chance of snow. It's literally snowing outside right now. Literally, this is the easiest forecast ever. It is going to snow. And we're already starting to get some totals in here, Rick, that people are already measuring numbers.
Dan's saying 2 inches. That was in
West Point, Kentucky.
And that says, Dan, thank you so much. And anyone who has snowfall totals so far, or when, because you're going to take pictures, I know you are. When you have pictures, you have a pin post at your page?
On my page, and you probably you can find any post on Rick's page.
Right. So if you want to submit your photos to us so we can show them on WDRB News at 10, 11 o'clock, give you a quick shout out. We love seeing your photos, especially the ones where the kids are enjoying the snow. Last time Mark posted a video of, what was that little fella seeing snow for the first time?
Yes. Was it Kaysen? Yeah, so he saw snow for the first time. And we saw it and we were like, this is special.
The cutest thing ever.
So I posted it on my pages, and I don't know if I told you this. So it's now at 963,000 views on Instagram. Here's the cool part. That you're going to like this, because I know you're Jen. Guess who liked the post? Vivica A. Fox. Vivica Fox.
Who's that?
You don't know who Vivica Fox is? Did you never see Independence Day, buddy?
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know.
That was the one that was dating Will Smith in Independence Day. Yes. You know Vivica Fox.
I know who it is now. I'm terrible with actors.
What is going on here? So Vivica Fox shared it.
Really? Oh, she shared it?
Yes, and she had several million followers.
That's really cool.
So Vivica, if you're
watching
our stream right now, let me just say I'm sorry for Rick here. He just embarrassed me, and thank you for following, and we're glad that you enjoy our live videos, Miss Fox or Mrs. Fox. I don't know which. Other questions here, Rick? How's traveling going to be 8 a.m. tomorrow to Bowling Green? So that depends on where from is.
Good point.
So let me say, if you're from Louisville driving to Bowling Green, problematic. If you're from Munfordville driving to Bowling Green, no big deal. If you're coming out of Indy driving to Bowling Green, you got some problems. So the travel routes are going to be problematic. Rick, we know that the main are going to do better than the side roads. That's just kind of the way it works. So in our area, understand that if you're in locations like, to give you an example, coming in Louisville, 64, 65, 71, Watterson, Gene Snyder would do the best. Elevated roads are going to be the absolute worst. The downtown 65 is going to be problematic. We know that KDOT's going to be focusing on the main roads and then work their way back to the sides. So the mains are going to hold up better and longer than the sides. You're going to come out of your neighborhood. It's not going to be fun. If you have a hill in there, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible.
It's unfortunate, but we're seeing that cold that spills in behind it, which means there's not going to be a lot of melting. The snow you see is going to stay for a while. Then you may get a fresh coating on top. So it's going to be a situation where we have snow on the ground for a good 3 to 4 days, if not even longer than that, because it's going to be a process to get rid of some of the snow. So I'm going to go back to questions here. That's why I had my head down in some of these. Jason saying about 1 inch in cordon. Getting a lot of hate about not knowing who Vivian is.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
That's a thing.
By the way,
JCPS, I'm seeing some.
Let us verify that. Somebody said that JCPS has made the decision. I am following them. I would tell you, if you're asking me, if you're saying, Mark, is JCPS going to have problems tomorrow? I would say yes, if they attempted to go. Somebody is saying that they're closed. We'll wait until we get official word.
Where's Gilbert when you need him?
I know. If anybody in our newsroom is watching the stream right now, if you guys can send Gil back in if we know officially. But we're definitely getting at least people that are saying that someone's saying they're a bus driver and they know. So we're getting reports right now that JCPS is NTI. I'm following their Twitter right now, Rick, just so I can verify if indeed that is we get the official here. More questions, Rick, coming out of our area. And by the way, just in case you're new here, the way we do this now is we're asking questions and answer. And if you're wondering, we can see about 6. So if we can't see your question because it's going by so fast, please feel free to ask the question a second time. Don't feel bad in any way, shape, or form. If you have to ask the question a second time, we don't think that you're bothering us here.
All right. So let's see. I'm going to go through. Lucy Grady says 1.5 inches already in Valley Station.
I believe it.
Getting reports. Let's see. Washington County closed tomorrow from Tina Lee.
I think, by the way,
how much for Radcliffe? Okay, so here's I want to get to trying to help you answer some questions. So how much for Radcliffe? Radcliffe, I would say you're probably in the up to 2, which means anything from a dusting to around 2. I would say you're probably going to get around 1 inch of snow if you're in Radcliffe. You are on the edge getting closer to that 2 to 4, but I do think that 2 to 4 is going to stay just to the north of you. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Getting reports, Danielle saying it's really coming down here in Okolona Highview. Rhonda said she's a bus driver. Rhonda, thank you so much for what you do.
Yeah.
We appreciate, you do not have an easy job, especially when it comes down to days like this where you're just sitting wondering what's going to happen. Are we going to cancel this? Are we going to have school?
And I want to answer this one. Reagan Eagle just said, is 3 to 6 possible in New Albany? I'm going to tell you right now, the likelihood of me moving the 3 to 6 further south into Louisville and New Albany is extremely high. So we're going to take a look at the late data, but moving the 3 to 6 into Louisville, just my opinion on what we're seeing in terms of radar presentation, it's going to be necessary. If you're asking me the peak that we could see out of this scenario, do I think a 7 is doable? With banding, Rick, I don't think a 7's impossible in this scenario. I really don't.
Bands can sometimes, they can be a curveball.
And the jet streak is an interesting one because it's developed now. You can kind of see this in the bimodal data, where it shows that initial burst and then maybe a little pause and then a secondary burst coming in after 3. Right. So that's the left exit of the jet stream, that initial lift. And I was looking really closely. That second one is the right entrance. That's when the jet flips and it moves past us.
Which are both the most favorable and energetic parts of the jet.
So we're continuing to monitor JCPS. Bardstown has already got 1.5 inches of snow on the ground. We've got you in the 2 to 4. Bryce Jones is in here. We knew it. Bryce Jones is in here. Bryce, you're not working tonight, buddy. You're supposed to be hanging out.
It's not. Oh, he probably put his daughter to bed now. So he's like, time to play. Daddy's time to play.
He jumped in. Watching here from New Albany. Mockport, Indiana is already reporting 1.5 inches.
Okay.
And that's in our 2 to 4. That's one of those areas we're going to have to debate whether we want to go 3 to 6. C3 Holland here out of our YouTube. So we have about 150 people in here on YouTube. We've got about 1,500 on Facebook. So C3 Holland is saying, are we possibly going to get a second clipper Saturday morning or Saturday night that will lead to additional snow? It's a great question. The answer is it's not necessarily what I would refer to as a clipper.
No.
I would kind of call that more as a jet streak, but what it is the Arctic surge. You are 100% on. We are going to see additional accumulating snow. And I'm just going to go out here and say this now. Listen up on this one. I think when this week comes to an end that there will be places that have over 10 inches of snow on the ground from this week. Agree or disagree?
I agree. Because when you combine the two of those and you take into account the fact that the snowfall ratios, the powdery, fluffy snow that piles up pretty quickly follows this snow, that increases the confidence that I do think there's going to be some people who could be close to 10 inches of snow, if not higher.
It's close to a foot.
So, yes, agreed.
In early December in a week period. If that doesn't make your blow your mind. Here's another one, Rick. I think Louisville gets enough snow tonight to put us in a top 10 snowiest December on record, and we are, what's the date today?
I think today's the 11th. Yeah, the
So
11th.
that by tomorrow would be the 12th, and the first 12 days of the month, and we have another 19 days in the month to go before we end it, and we'll be in the top 10. Those of you that remember,
Wild.
2004 is the wild December, where 2 days before Christmas, we got 8.1 inches of sleet and snow. We very easily could surpass that number in that period and that year with the snow that falls this week in the first 12 days of the month of December. And if this isn't a crazy one, remember this too, Rick. January obviously is last winter, but if you throw this in the calendar year, January is a top 10 snowiest in 2025, and December is going to be a top 10
So we're going
snowiest.
to add it into the same year.
Same year.
Oh, I didn't even see. Now I want to go start pulling up climatology and looking at all these numbers. So, okay.
Isn't that an
That's
interesting
a
one?
very good point. Yeah.
So 2 of the 3 winter months in the calendar year, again, it's not the winter. They're separated in all the stats we do, but in the same calendar year, we'll have a top 10 snowiest December and a top 10 snowiest January. And I think when you kind of talk about stuff like that, people go, "Oh, that happened in 76 or 77 in 78, in those kind of years." But yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I don't remember in recent memory doing that.
Snow lovers are rejoicing right now. The way
Wayne,
this winter
Wayne,
started.
our
Wayne,
resident snow lover, is
feel like-
really loving this.
I hope he's happy because sometimes
So Sandy just
misses
said
out.
this. I just saw Sandy's question, and she said, "Wait, did you say 10 inches of snow?" I did. I'm not saying from this storm. I want you to understand this storm, Saturday night, put it together. Do I think there's going to be some locations over 10 inches of snow? When you put those two together, the answer is yes. So because not a lot of this is going to melt, there will be locations with 10 inches of snow on the ground by Sunday. It looks like we have a guest coming in. I asked for this particular guest to come in here as we obviously have snow falling across our area right now. That goes from Salem through Louisville into the Shepherdsville area into E-Town. Ongoing snow here in Salem. We're getting reports now of 1.5 to 2 inches of snow in our area. And I welcome you, a new gentleman here. You may or may not have seen this man before.
I'm back.
Literally, you saw him 2 minutes ago.
Friends, I'm back. Hi, how are you?
Gil, I'm going to go ahead and guess that something has happened in our area that you wanted one of our 2,000 people to know about during live in our stream. I'm assuming this has to do with somebody in our metro area.
You are a very wise man, Mark Weinberg.
I
You are a
appreciate
very
that.
wise
Thank
man.
you, Gil. Thank you. Thank you so much.
This just in from JCPS. Literally in the last 90 seconds, the school district has said that tomorrow will be an NTI day, an online learning day. So don't go to school in the morning, friends.
I mean, you could, but it's a
Well,
bad
listen, I've got friends who are educators, and without a doubt, whenever there's a snow day or
Really?
an NTI day, yes, people have to be at the school because inevitably some folks will miss the
Fair.
memo and show up. So
In our business, we don't do NTI. There's
no, in our business, whenever we tell everybody to stay home, that's when everybody who works here has to come in.
It is one of the hard parts about our business is you know, like people are like, well, you know, just stay somewhere or don't go, or it doesn't work that way.
No.
We're not complaining. We 100% chose the career, but you become hyper aware of like, are my tires good? Do I have snow tires on my vehicle?
Right.
Mark said, don't drive over 20 miles an hour. If I end up in a ditch, Mark's going to have me on his video tomorrow making fun of me. These are real things, though.
Certainly will have you on your video making. Yeah, I don't know if he'll be making fun of you, but
If you're okay, I will.
he'll be finger wagging like this is why you don't drive, right? So
But we appreciate that. So now officially we know that JCPS is on NTI, and I think this probably also means we're going to see a cascade.
Yeah.
Normally, when JCPS is polls, we normally see districts around the area. Southern Indiana is going to have mass NTI or closing, and we should see a lot of those north of the Parkway as well.
And it's early enough for people to begin making plans, right? So, if your child's going to be home, now you have time to figure out, child care.
Exactly.
And a work situation.
All right, I've got you here, Gil. I'm going to ask you one quick question.
Okay, go ahead, friend.
So this is going to be some nice snow. Louisville's going to get decent snow. It'll be good snowman snow, by the way.
You heard my failed snowman attempt last time, didn't
I'm gonna bring you in here. Let's just make sure we have Mr. Corsi. Very nice tight shot there, Mr. Corsi. You have twins.
I do. Twin 4-year-olds.
Twin 4-year-olds. I assume they're going to look out the window tomorrow and they're going to say, Daddy, 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 we need to make a snowman. What's your plans look like for the first half of the day tomorrow?
Oh, my plans for tomorrow will be to use the snow to my advantage. And so we can't go out and play in the snow until after we eat a good breakfast and then after we clean up. So you got to negotiate with 4-year-olds. But we will get everything we want to get done. And then we'll go outside and play in the snow.
How long in this? It's going to be about 30-ish, 32 in the morning. How long do you think they'll be out there before they're like, okay, I've had enough?
Listen, I will tell you, last time they were out for, we played for a while, and then I shoveled my complete driveway, and I was like, okay, it's time to go in. It's lunchtime. So they would have stayed out, I feel, for ever.
So one last time, JCPS is on NTI. Mr. Corsi, thank you for joining us.
A pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invitation.
And you're always invited here on our stream if you want to come in Studio C. We always invite you, and we appreciate it as Gil is monitoring from our news desk what's going on.
Does that C stand for, Mark with a C?
Which part? What was that? The
Studio C, Mark with a C?
It's so we have
that what it is?
We have Studio A. Gil, we go into Studio B, and I've given the name. I call it Charlie or Chuck.
Okay.
We call this the Chuck. If DeLuca, if we've got something going on, I'm like, hey DeLuca, I'll meet you in the Charlie, or I'll meet you in Chuck, and we'll get ready to do it. So we're not going to go with the Mark with a C. I don't think that's. I would be stretching the truth here if I said that's what it is. So Gil, if you hear anything else, you need to let us know.
I will let you know.
Hop back in. JCPS on NTI. Mr. DeLuca is going to come back and join us. Snow continues to fall. I will tell you again what I mentioned earlier, that Louisville, the likelihood is that I'm going to increase you in the 3 to 6 inch snow totals. We'll continue to keep an eye on that, and we'll make that decision before we go on at 10. But Rick, this is snowing at a pretty good clip here, and this is going to accumulate fast. Obviously, Louisville has seen enough that they were able to make the call and the decision on that one. There's already over 1.5 inches in Bardstown, which we have in the 2 to 4. That 3 to 6 is probably going to have to expand some. And again, a lot of this comes down to when we say 2 to 4, we know that it's highly impactful. And so we'll then start to throw the dart in the narrowest area where we believe, and then we'll expand it as the data allows here. So we have a little bit more time here for some questions here. And Rick, you're back in. Let's do some questions. As you see, multiple views here with what we've got in Louisville, what we've got ongoing around the area, and we are answering questions for you.
Sarah Brendan Hutchinson, sorry if I butchered that, wants to know if Taylorsville will be in the 3 to 6. I would say you're probably going to end up in the higher range of the 2 to 4 and not so much in the 3 to 6 range.
Yeah, that's one I need to think about. I'm going to tell you Prospect, Goshen. I think you've got it in the bag.
It's
do I want to go to Taylorsville? I'd like to look at the data. Let's just say on the edge of the 2 to 4. And
that's what I was trying to say. Close to it, but like I said, probably in the higher ends of that range itself. Just so you know. I also got an update from one of our producers, Hannah. Bullitt County also doing an NTI day tomorrow.
That's changed the game here. It's almost like when we were younger, let's just even go back before COVID. NTI days really wasn't a thing.
No.
If they closed, they just closed. Now it's like, if I just want to, I'm not sure. Maybe I want to close. Maybe I don't go NTI. It's changed the game in terms of the risk.
The risk goes.
Why risk it at all now?
I know.
Because you can still keep the day, and not like when we had a lot of snow days when we were younger, that pushed us back into summer. We had to stay in school longer. But with NTI, they can still hit their out time.
They can still get work done. I kind of feel bad because I wish. I mean, you can still go out and have fun once you get your work done. Go play and enjoy it. But there's some difference between waiting and just watching that scroll at your TV screen and thinking, okay, when's my school coming up? And then you get it, you're like, yes. And those are the best days. That's probably part of the reason why I'm here, because I snowstorms growing up was like I was glued.
So one of the things, a reminder is if you're going to try to play in the snow, like we mentioned with Keel, I assume Mia's going to want to get out there a little. Tomorrow's the day. If you wait till Saturday, I think you can still do it. Sunday's going to be too cold. Sunday's going to be painfully cold. Wind chills early on in the day,
cold,
could cause frostbite in 30 to 45 minutes. So the snow play days would be either tomorrow or Saturday. Questions continuing to fly across the screen. Has Shepherdsville been moved into the 3 to 6? I've got you in the 2 to 4 right now. I'd like to look at that data because I think you're a little far south for me to make the call without thoroughly going through that data. So I want to spend some time on that before I give you a call on that. So Rick, let's go now down to 3 more questions before we end the video. Number 1, before we do our last 3 questions, I'm going to open up my phone, and on my Facebook, I'm going to be looking at you guys right now. And so what I want to see on this screen here is, are you guys enjoying the Facebook Live? Because if you are, show me. I want to see the screen covered with thumbs up and some hearts on here. Please share the video, because you remember your friends, family may be interested even after the video ends, and get a chance to hear how things unfolded, or maybe they just want to see the snow map. It makes a lot of sense to share so people can get it. 3 more questions here, Rick. I'm going to throw this one to you. Cassie is asking out of Seymour.
Gotcha. Just a quick clarification. Bullitt County is closed. Made a wrong verbiage there. But Cassie's curious, is any of this going to melt before Sunday?
Okay.
And I'm going to say no. Our high is in the upper 30s on Saturday. And then we get that reinforcing shot of cold, which is a different kind of cold. This has origins from the polar vortex. We get a chunk of that which breaks off. And that's why we are looking at dangerous cold for the second half of the weekend. That's not going to melt. But by early next week, we're going to start to thaw out. So here's my other prediction. It has nothing to do with snow. But we're going to see snow. We have salt trucks, brine trucks throwing down all sorts of different elements. And then we have snow which comes down, the plows come through, and then Arctic air coming in with more snow, and then thawing out next week after this deep freeze, which means it's going to be pothole city by the middle of next week with the thawing and the freezing and the salt and all the plowing. And there's really nothing you can do to avoid that. It's inevitable.
2 more questions. Sarah says, I have to drive to work from Shepherdsville to Westport Road. I like this question a lot. That's why I'm going to take this one. So Sarah, if you're driving in from Shepherdsville to Louisville, and you're driving in tomorrow morning at 3:45, the roads are going to be hard. They're going to be really difficult in your side roads. The highways, they're going to be plowing and working on that, but the side roads are not going to be good. The intensity here is not like a level of what we saw in January where it was 10 inches, so I think that they'll attempt to work on this. But if you're asking me, are those roads going to be difficult at 3:45 in the morning? My answer is absolutely.
Yeah.
Rick, we're going to take the last question. You choose it, my friend.
Oh, it's a lot of pressure.
Look at what's going on around there. There's a lot of different ones here. Which one do you want to take?
Let's see. Come on. Let's a couple more come in.
Let's ask in those questions. Rick is debating. He's really thinking through thoroughly. By the way, I'm seeing those hearts and thumbs up flying across the screen. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you. Our voices are taxed after talking for a little bit today.
All right. So the last question.
This is going to wrap it.
This is from Dawn, and she wants to know, would you take your family to French Lick on Saturday if you had Polar Express tickets? Now, on Saturday...
You took a tough one there.
I mean...
I like that you took this one.
Listen, I feel compelled to take this one.
Okay.
Dawn and I, we're seeing eye to eye right now, Dawn. So I would say, honestly, yes, because it's the Polar Express. So you have the opportunity. Now, are roads going to be in perfect condition on Saturday? Well, the main interstate should, but back roads, maybe not the best ones. I don't know if you want to chime in on this. You're like, you seem questionable on this. I
just think it's cool that you went after that question.
I would risk.
I don't like to give.
I know it's tough because listen, if something
you don't
goes
know
wrong,
somebody's driving skills.
Yeah, if you feel confident in the snow,
yeah, exactly.
I'm confident in driving in the snow, so that's why I would say I would go for it, just because there's not many times in December you get to have that. I mean, just to have that scenic drive through all the snow.
It is so pretty up there.
It's so pretty up there, and to have the Polar Express, it's like, it's just, you can't say no. So I would say if you have someone who's very good driving in the snow, if you take it slow, it's going to be a good time. But when you leave, that's going to be very different. If you're going to go Saturday during the day, if you're not staying the night, then you have to be really careful. So it depends on what time you want to go. If you're going to go during the morning, get the trip over with. I highly advise that because if the afternoon wears on, especially overnight, that's when snow begins to develop once again. So it really depends on what time that you intend on leaving and intend on coming home.
You asked my opinion on this. I would say if your tires are in good condition, if they're not summer tires, but they're all season in good condition, if you're reasonably comfortable driving in some slick spots, I would head out mid-morning. I would try to be home by 3. That would be my opinion on that one if you're trying to do that. I just don't want to get caught in that second snow that comes in late in the day.
That's what you're trying to avoid.
So if you guys, first off, thank you all for joining us. I think that in the current Studio C in Chuck, this is the biggest video that we've ever had. We had over 4,000 people in here watching at one moment. And remember, there's always people coming and going. So we appreciate you guys. You guys have really told us that being here in the streaming space, being able to show you Studio C and bring a really high quality stream into the environment of the YouTubes and the Facebook and the X's is a really big deal. Not just like doing this out of our basement, but doing a high level production that you've come to expect on what we do at WDRB. Trying to bring that level of excellence into the streaming space. We've seen the demand, and that's why we're here for you guys. So lastly, remember, share the video if you have any friends or family that you think might be interested. We are going to be updating snow totals. I'm on WDRB News at 10. Rick's going to be outside during the 10 and back inside at 11. What we're going to be discussing is updated snow totals.
There's nuances.
I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to make some adjustments. Where that 3 to 6 is very specifically, that's the adjustment that needs to be made. So we're going to be going through the late data, which is rolling now. We've got about 40 minutes to analyze, and then we'll be updating. WDRB News at 10, 10:22, 10:37, 11,
17.
11, 17. You guys, if you need, please tune in at that point. You're going to get our updated snow totals based on the late data. And we feel confident that we're going to need to make some adjustments there. Could Louisville go into the winter storm warning? I would say, again, it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. It's a high-end winter weather advisory, low-end winter storm warning, but if you can make the argument for Southern Indiana, you can make it for Louisville. We'll have that updated information for you on WDRB News at 10. Also of note, if you don't follow me on Facebook or Mr. DeLuca, please make sure you do. That way you get an alert when we go live, because we can assure you we're going to be going live probably tomorrow. We'll have some lives this weekend with more active weather ongoing, and that's the way you're going to be able to get that information and know when we go live. So for Mr. Rick DeLuca, I'm Mark Weinberg. We appreciate you guys joining us in our stream tonight. I'll see you on WDRB News at 10. He'll see you on WDRB News at 11. And make sure you tune into 10, because you're going to want to see what it looks like out in that snow.